If you've been keeping up with this series I'm doing, this SSR Project Bike Series 125 manual, of course, and you'll know last video I put a new carb on it, and pretty much the engine aspect of this build is completely done. The motor's running great. That's pretty much the main concern of mine always, and now it's just the drivetrain part, I guess I'll call it. I put new levers on it already. I might put a new chain on it if this one doesn't get cleaned up. It's a little rusty. Take a look at the brakes on it and put some air in that tire. However, before I get all into all of that, I'm gonna just do some cosmetic stuff right now. So this video is just gonna be a wash, get off some surface rust on there and on some other parts of the bike, and inflate the tire. I mean, brakes are working good, front and back. There's a few things I'm concerned about, but I can go into that later. And then we could give this thing its first test drive, really. When you're washing your bike, instead of just closing the choke, I like to throw a bag over it, and also since it's carburetors new, I want to keep it nice for a while. And since this is our first wash on the bike, I went ahead and undid the bolts on here, and just gonna take the plastics off. That way you can really get in there. Alright, the bike is all washed up now. Did a pretty decent job on it. First chain lube, and then I'm gonna pump up the tire a little bit. Tires are pumped up to around 30 psi on both, which is what's recommended. I guess I'm gonna do the rust removal during the paint job before that, so stay tuned, motherfucker. So there's one last thing I gotta do before I can drive this thing, test drive it, and that's put this knob back on there. It didn't have this screw. I picked it up, or this bolt, sorry, and I'm just gonna feed it through and it'll hold in place. But first I'm just gonna hit this with some black spray paint. Alright, so this is painted up for, as best as it's gonna get. And then I just got the shit to attach it. Alright, so we got this back on. It's stuck in that position. I know normally they're spring loaded, so they'll pop back, but I didn't want to do that. And then there's just a bolt under there with thread locker and epoxy. So over the course of this video, we gave it a good wash. We inflated the tires, lubed the chain, put this thing back on, put some new screws on the plastics, and I think we're ready to give it a first test drive.